Hello, I'm Danny Legowelt, and here I got a tip for you for the Novation peak synthesizer, and this one is called Turning Your Peak into an analog drum machine. A really cool thing about the peak is that you can modulate the keyboard to a lot of functions. So instead of a LFO, you can have the keyboard modulating stuff as a source. And we're going to use this to make a very simple drum kit on the keyboard. Basically on the lower octaves we're going to have a bass drum, and on the higher octaves we're going to have a snare drum or hi-hat or something, and then it slowly morphs to there. First of all, we're going to turn off all the oscillators, because we're not going to use any waveform to make the bass drum. We're going to use the feedback of the resonance of the filter. Turn all the oscillators off, and then use the resonance, put that at maximum, and then a little bit of envelope depth of the filter, and we're gonna... So now we only hear the filter feedback, basically. See, now we get a more bass drummy sound already, but I want to have it a little bit lower. You just tweak it until you get a bass drum you like, synthetic bass drum. If it doesn't sound powerful enough yet, don't worry, because there's another trick later which you can make it sound really hard. So what we want to do with this keyboard modulation in the mod matrix, so we go to mod matrix and then we use keyboard as a source. Of course, the resonance is basically making the sound of the bass drum, so we want to turn the resonance off at the higher octaves, and so we choose the destination is going to be the filter resonance, and then we just put -64, which means that at the higher things there's no more resonance, but we hear an oscillator. I didn't turn them off. Hey. Oh, the ring modulator was on. So we have kind of bass drum on the lower octaves, and on the higher octaves we basically have nothing, like a little click that's just an artifact of the mod envelope and the resonance. Now we want to make a snare drum or hi-hat on the higher things, like another synthetic drum sound. And of course, a good way to do that is using the noise generator, and the peak has a very nice noise generator here. So we go to the mod matrix 2, and we take another slot, here slot 2, and we select the keyboard again, and then we go to noise level, which will modulate this, and instead of the minus we go plus. That will mean the noise level will be turned on the higher octaves. So yeah, see, we hear like a kind of noise thing. So we got a very basic drum kit, and in between it kind of transmorphs to it. So now we have this drum kit, but there's a lot of fun things we can do. We can, for example, use the arpeggiator to just play it, so we don't have to play it with our hands. So we go to ARP clock and set the BPM a little bit lower, so we have a very simple key latch on, arpeggiator on, and let's see. See, now we have a very simple rhythm, and now we can tweak it a little bit as much as we like it. So the envelopes, and we can put overdrive on it, and of course the peak has a very nice distortion. Oh, that's a little bit too much. Put a little bit of reverb on it. So you can get this very unique synthetic drum sounds with it, or whole loops even. And now a really fun thing to do, you can add a kind of groove to it by using the delay. And it's really a matter of fine-tuning everything until you get the right sound you want. Oh. But if you put the delay a little bit shorter, and of course the delay you can program that it only delays the higher frequencies. So if we go to the FX menu, because we might not want to have the bass drum delay too much, so we go to delay, and here you have low pass damp and high pass damp. So for this, the low pass damp is open and the high pass damp. See, and if you use the envelopes for the amp and the filter, you can completely change the rhythm, the sounds of the rhythm a bit. Now it sounds more like an old organ rhythm box from the 70s or something. And this delay can really bring the groove out if you program it a little bit good. And you can even sync it to an external sequencer or sampler or your software, whatever, if you press the sync button here using MIDI. And we still got all these oscillators free that are doing nothing, basically. So we can use those to put a very simple melody in there, like I just, or yeah, melody, like a bleep sound, like some kind of weird hypnotic techno, and then we can detune this one and put it on 7 and go. Of course, we can change the speed of the rhythm just here in our plug, so you can make it faster. Make like a terror noise or something. So yeah, that's a little tip how to turn the peak into a very simple analog drum machine.